Hello there. I'm Scotty. You're not. So I'm not gonna be that loud because it's 1 o'clock in the morning right now. Uh, but I just rewatched because I watched this with my son when it came out. But I rewatched season one of the Goosebumps show, or the Goosebumps 2023 show. Uh, that is connected to the new one, but not really. Um, the, Wikipedia has it under both seasons under one page, but Disney Plus has them separate. As this is one series, and the Goosebumps: The Vanishing is another series. Is what they have. The first season, yeah. So rewatching it, I didn't do a review when we first got done watching it because we didn't watch it all in one binge, and I don't know. I just didn't want to half-ass it. So I watched all episodes in one sitting. Yes, all 10. With 2 being unnecessary. Really, at the end of episode 8, you're like, okay, it's done. But then there's 2 more episodes that just are so unnecessary. Yeah. So a little bit of background. This was announced back in 2021, 2022 ish. They're going to be doing one for Disney Plus and Hulu at the same time. Produced by Sony Pictures. And the director of the first Goosebumps movie, Rob Letterman, was going to be involved. So there's that. I think he produced the second one, but he didn't direct it. It was gonna have no connection to the movies, but I assumed when they announced that it was going to be like going back to the original show, readapting the books for a modern audience. Unfortunately, like, because they announced that Justin Long was going to be one of the main cast members, and I thought, so was he playing R.L. Stine, telling the stories in each episode like a host? No. I guess I said unfortunately, but I guess no. It's basically ripping off the Are You Afraid of the Dark revival, where it's one singular story told throughout a certain number of episodes. It's not an anthology in a way that you would think, like each season is an anthology instead of each episode. Yeah. So it tells the story of it takes place in God damn it, I had it. It's in Washington. In a small town of Washington, and I had it. Lake something, I don't know. But and we have in 1993 in this small town, a teenager named Harold Biddle died in a fire. Now in modern times, it seems that that's connected not only to this group of high school students, but their parents, who also have a connection to a certain ventriloquist dummy. Yeah. And the new arrival in town, Fort something. I'm getting close. Port Lawrence. Boom! In Port Lawrence, Washington. Sorry, got a lot. A Nathan Bratt, Justin Long's character, arrives having inherited the Biddle house from his great grandfather. Yeah. And the aforementioned group of teens have a party which unleashes unspeakable horrors from stuff that is inside the basement of the house, which used to be Biddle's room, but also they are connected to stories from Goosebumps, because of course they are. So yes, except for 2 episodes. Each episode is named after one of the books. So we have Say Cheese and Die, The Haunted Mask, Cuckoo Clock Doom, Go Eat Worms, Night of the Living Dummy, You Can't Scare Me, Night of the Living Dummy 2, and Welcome to Horrorland. And really, that last one doesn't really make sense, other than some character says we will unleash the horrors. But the rest sort of connect, I guess. You Can't Scare Me doesn't really either. And the other 2 episodes are built up of phrases like Reader Beware, Scare, blah blah blah, Reader Beware, and Give Yourself Goosebumps, which are the ones I like to read because they were easier for me, because glasses and autistic and ADHD and trying to pay attention to something. Those ones let you leap around, choose your own story, and it was quicker to get through the books. And my grandma never believed me when I said I finished the books that I got, and she's like, "How did you finish those already?" And I showed her what it was. She's like, "Oh, you're cheating." I'm like, "No, but no, I like these. They're easier for me to read. Than going through chapter to chapter. You just jump to where you want to go. Yeah. So, yeah. Our main characters are, here we go, Isaiah, James, Margot, Isabella, and other guy. I know I was going to forget one. Hold on. Lucas is the last character. And they're the aforementioned characters who have the parents who are connected to this Biddle house in some way, shape, or form. So as I said, so I liked the overall story of the show until the last 2 episodes. Rewatching this, I just thought of how unnecessary the last 2 episodes are and how it could have ended. Like, how we get to where the last episode takes us, what episode 9 does, makes no sense on why this character would do this. And it's just confusing because they had to run it that way, even though we'll get to it. So as I mentioned, we start off in 1993. Harold Biddle's house is set on fire, and we don't know how. We meet our new characters. So there's so many love triangles in this. They try to have some kind of teen drama aspect to it. James is the gay character. He has a thing for this jock guy. And it doesn't really go anywhere. There's a thing at the party where he's like with him, and then once we get to the Ku Klux Doom episode, it's kind of thrown out the window until we need to bring that character back for something later, but it doesn't really go anywhere. And there's 2 different love triangles. First, there's Isaiah, who is dating Allison, who is an unnecessary character in this. I don't understand why Isaiah needed to already have a girlfriend. Because she's quickly abandoned. Like, she breaks up with him in episode 2 or 3. And quickly it shifts to a love triangle between Isaiah, Margot, and Lucas. For some reason. Like, they just forget about Allison, which really makes her unnecessary. And there's really no point for her to exist. We never see her again. She's not even at the end part of this. Nah. I don't get it. Right? It doesn't make any sense. Also, Margot's dad, who's the school guidance counselor, is having an affair with Lucas's mom. And it appears as if he and his wife have sort of been separated, and she thought it was a trial separation, but he's pretty much given up on the marriage, which is why he's with Nora. This is surprisingly adult toned, or I should say older teen tone to it. Like, they mentioned sex a couple times. Like, when they get ready to go to Seattle and one of the unnecessary episodes, there's like, nobody has sex. Your mom can have sex. No, it doesn't matter. She can have sex. And I'm just like, What we see him and Nora in bed. We don't see anything. They're just in bed, and she mentions having to clean her private parts with a bar of soap, and I'm like, did you not think kids would watch it? It's called Goosebumps. Why are you being so, you know? Luckily, some stuff just seems to go over my son's head. He might be hearing this stuff too. There were some of the movies I watched back in the day, but those were PG-13. Like Bill and Ted calling each other dickweeds and the FAG word, and you know. And when I'm watching around adults, I'm kind of looking at them like, are they gonna get off me? No, but it's weird. They weren't, because I watched it since I was little. They knew that, but I don't know. But yeah, it did. So to go through each episode in a way, first episode, say cheese and die. They first go into the Biddle house, and he finds the camera. The camera, he's taking pictures, and bad things start to happen. It's even more toned down than the '90s episode. Like, he takes a picture of Margot, and she ends up eating something with peanuts in it, and she has a nut allergy, so he goes and saves her. But then when he tries to tell James about it, what frustrates me with this is that because the plot demands that it has to last the entire 45-minute runtime, we have to stretch that out by making sure no one else but Isaiah believes about the pictures. So every time he tries to show them, it comes up blank. Like, he's like, look at this. And it's a blank picture. Right? Every time he tries to show them. It's never explained why. It just doesn't show up to anyone but him. It's never explained. Is it because he's the one that used the camera? Because that doesn't make any sense, because James is the one that took the picture of him. So James should be able to see that picture. But he can't. And that picture, his picture foretells that he's going to get hurt playing football. And he does. For most of the show, for the rest of the show, he's got a broken arm, which gets less and less broken as things go on. He gets like a wrap on his hand by the end of it. But yeah, that's really what it is. The second episode is The Haunted Mask, and that's Isabella. Now, I'm confused by this. Maybe I missed something. So, Allison has this troll who's like blasting her, and everybody, like, just kind of throwing out bad things and reporting things and getting them in trouble. And it's revealed that it's Isabella. But later she says it wasn't me, it was the mask. She didn't have the mask yet. This was in the first episode this stuff was happening. Well, it's the second episode they're showing it, but they do it, it's kind of told non-linear at points. She didn't have the mask yet. She found it in the Biddle house when they were in there, I guess. Yeah. The third episode is a Coup Clock of Doom, and they put a spin on this one. So not only is it like a time loop thing, but every time that James loops, another version of him is created. And they're evil. They work for what we think is Biddle. But Biddle's being controlled by something else we find out later. Biddle's spirit jumps into Mr. Bratt. So Justin Long is the villain in this. And for the most part, he does a pretty good job of it. He's really good in this. If you've seen Justin Long in horror, you know he's really good in it. But yeah, and the whole thing with, like, they kind of have cliffhangers at the end. Like, at the end of the Haunted Mask episode, Isabella is playing pool with James, and she hits one of the balls, and it bounces off, hits James, and he's into goo. And that's leading to the next episode. We find out that those creations turn to goo that smell like watermelon Jolly Ranchers, even though the goo is yellow. And they're evil, working for something. There's something they need to get. Something that's buried, and there's connection there. Go Eat Worms. It's a weird one. They get to that. uh, Lucas finds worms when they're at the Halloween party, when they're at the Biddle house, and just takes them and accidentally, maybe he doesn't on purpose, he eats them and they make him invincible to the point where he can't get hurt. And he's trying to, I don't know. Eventually they talk him out of it, and the worms escape from him but become giant worms. And this is where things go down the hill, where it feels like they really had to stretch this, because Nora is the only one that believes that Biddle is coming back. Whenever she tries to convince everyone else, they don't believe her. And this is really the episode where I felt like they were trying to stretch it, because she sees these giant worms and tries to she tells the police what happened. She gets thrown in the nutty bin, the loony bin. The problem is, the loony bin, one of her old friends, who is connected to the whole Biddle thing, is a doctor, a psychiatrist, or whatever, and is keeping her in there to keep it quiet, and even drugging her. And it takes Margot's mom showing up to tell her, hey, stop taking those pills and start acting normal, and I'll let you out. And they do. And it starts to kind of come together, but not everyone believes everything at the same time. Reader Beware is sort of where we get into the flashbacks and we find out the truth. So we know that Harold Biddle died in a fire. We find out through one flashback that their parents were involved in it. And we're led to believe that they were bullies for Harold Biddle and set him on fire. We found out that Harold Biddle and his family, they also, like Brat, inherited this house. And because the grandfather, well, not quite yet, we're not there yet. So he had the house, and they inherited the house, they moved in. One of them actually is Jonathan Lieberman, the guy from Weekend at Bernie's. That's not Andrew McCarthy, the other guy. Yeah, he's the dad. And they move into the house, and he meets up and starts hanging out with the parents, who are teenagers at this point. But he finds a dummy hidden in his wall. We find out his grandfather had the dummy. It talked, and the dummy was trying to control him, so he hid it, buried it in the wall, and stayed in that house guarding it. Well, didn't exactly work. The guy died, they inherited the house, and he found the dummy. And the dummy starts to control him, manipulate him into doing stuff. And it turns out that they weren't actually bullies, but trying to save him from the dummy. And they inadvertently burnt down the house, but took the dummy away. And Harold Biddle died, believing that they did it on purpose. And when Biddle, controlling Brat, when they say, oh, it was nice, and he goes, no, they did this on purpose, they did this on purpose. This is an episode where, like, it turns out that they're inside the book, right? So, yeah. I think I kind of jumped into Night of the Living Dummy as well. I think I could have sort of jumped into that, but yeah, that's kind of what it is. Give yourself Goosebumps 1. Okay, so I can't connect with these two, but at a certain point, Give Yourself Goosebumps and You Can't Scare Me are connected in a way that they find out that Brat can sort of free himself from Biddle's control because they're all stuck in this journal, this book or whatever that is there. Biddle's book, journal, whatever. It tells the stories, the backgrounds, whatever. So they punch him hard enough, or just they punch him, and they keep punching him hard. He snaps out of it, he's back in the real world, but Biddle keeps punching him back. So Brat has to kind of fight to to get control of his body and save the kids who the book has been thrown into a puddle and it's going to start like dissolving in ink is starting to melt and everything, but he's able to control it. He can't write with his left arm. I know what it is. But he's just drawing a square, right? I think he could, with his left arm, a square, but whatever. Because it's a door. They're able to get out. Meanwhile, Nora is out from the nut house, and some of the other parents are sort of convinced, but not really. And she went to get the dummy, but now is taking it up to a mountain cabin somewhere for some reason to deal with it. I assume she's going to burn it in a fire or something. And now there's a snowstorm on the way. And Andy according to Jim, is there. And he behaves weird when he's talking to her, and I think you're supposed to believe that he's sort of possessed too, but no, he's just the weird policeman. Yeah. I don't know. But Brad's able to get them out, but not himself. He's stuck back there as Biddle takes control again. So now Biddle is chasing after Nora because he wants the dummy. And Lucas and Margot have gone after them, while the others stay behind. But Lucas, Margot, and Isaiah have gone after them because we had to keep that love triangle thing going. Yeah, I guess. Well, the others stay behind and are met by the parents who now believe Nora and are trying to stop her or trying to help her. I don't know. But it's all going to coagulate in this connect in this final scene where they confront Biddle in Brad's body, telling that Slappy was the one controlling him. They were trying to save him from Slappy. And so he finally realizes the truth and throws Slappy off a cliff. By the way, Slappy has a British accent, and if you're wondering why, when he's never had a British accent, in fact, in the show, he had a New York accent, kind of like this. And I guess he had sort of one in the movie, but it was Jack, hello, Papa. It wasn't really British, it was Jack Black doing a weird accent. Hello, Papa. But throws him off a cliff. And everything is fine. It's all over now, and we can go home now, Oh, wait, we still got 2 episodes left. Yeah, these were the most unnecessary 2 episodes ever. It's done. It's over with. Right? No. So, after this, we kind of get Brad's origin a little bit, as he was living in the house, not able to pay rent. He hasn't written anything in a while. His dog gets run over by a car, and he's about to get evicted when he is told that he's inherited his grandfather's house, or great-grandfather's house. However, I want to point out that if you're in debt, the bank would take that house as payment for whatever it's worth. So if he's already in debt and hasn't paid rent and he's in debt so much, that house wouldn't do anything. He wouldn't be able to live in that house. The bank would take it because that's considered wealth. That whatever inside the house is wealthy enough, but he's just able to live in it because this is a TV show. Not realistic at all. So yeah, we get a flash of everything that is happened so far, and now it's present time, and he's writing a book based on the events of the show, but changing the names for obvious legal reasons and everything. And he's doing good, but then the publisher wants him to change the ending. They don't want a happy ending. No, I get it. That's a nod to the books, where a lot of times there's a twist at the end. There's always a twist at the end. There's always a twist at the end. There's a twist at the end, or some kind of twist sort of situation with a Goosebumps book. Sure. But it's convoluted. It's a convoluted way. It's a convoluted setup. So that he's at his wit's end at trying to figure out an ending, that he decides to go back to where the cliff was. climb down and grab Slappy. Now, I feel like I need to point this out, even though it should be obvious, that he shouldn't need to grab Slappy from the bottom of a cliff, because we've seen him climb out of a freaking well in the Night Living Dummy 3. I'm pretty sure he can just put himself back together and show back up at the, so whenever you try to take out Slappy, he just shows up again. But not only does he have to go get him, he has to say the words again? That makes no sense. I don't understand. So he makes a deal with him. A deal with him for an ending. A happy end, or an ending to his book. He's going to give it to him. And then he has to recite this other spell, which he does, and he turns human. Well, human-like. And then we get his backstory. I'm just going to tell the whole backstory because it's told in 2 different parts. He was a soldier during World War II. Or 1, or 2. Whatever. During one of the World Wars. Who was shot. And during the war, he found a secret cave with the words. And because he learned the words of wherever he was at, he was able to read it and give himself eternal life, becoming a sorcerer. He then found Brad's great-great-grandfather, Kahu, or whatever his name is, and made a deal with him to make dummies, turning humans into dummies. And so then, Slappy was once, his name is Kandu. I tried to look it up. This is not from the books. I thought maybe it was, but I couldn't find anything leading back to a story from the book that this is necessary to stretch this out for 2 episodes. By the way, at this point, we're at the beginning of episode 10 with this story. Yeah. So, he is turned into a puppet by Brad's great-great-grandfather. And now freed by Brad. Yeah. So, in episode... I think we're still on episode 9. I don't know. During episode 9, everyone's going to Seattle because that's where Margot's mom is now living, and they're all staying there. And Lucas gets a wild hair up his ass and decides, I'm leaving, and does, because they say it's because he thinks it's not over yet, but there's really no reason for him to leave, other than he needs to be the first one to be captured by Kandu, I guess. And do I need to point out that Kandu sounds suspiciously like Shandu from Are You Afraid of the Dark lore? I'm just pointing it out there. In fact, his catchphrase was Shandu can do. Anyway. So, eventually they decide they're going to leave Seattle and go home. They do, and when they get back to town, people are acting weird. Because Kandu has turned everyone into puppets. And is using his magic trying to make deals with people. Like, Isaiah is supposed to sign on the dotted line to get a scholarship, even though he kind of failed at football. He goes to sign it, realizes his hand's not bandaged anymore, realizes it's all fake. And James, the guy who I said that James had a thing for, comes back making a cat joke because that's what he was dressed as a cat. And he realizes that's fake. Margot's parents are back together for some reason, even though her mom is in Seattle and she's magically at the house. And she's able to figure it out. Or no, Isaiah comes in and stops her, and they run out, and both James and Isaiah, or James and Isabel are in the car, and Isabel figured out that it wasn't her mom because she asked how she was or something, or good to see you. which I have to picture. She's like Arnold Schwarzenegger. Arnold Schwarzenegger was like, "Nice to see you." Yeah. Apparently, she's not that nice. I don't know. But yeah. So now to be even more convoluted and try to shoehorn the Horrorland name in there and how this fits. I don't even know how You Can't Scare Me fit to that thing. So Kandu's whole thing, because he died in a war, you see, he wants to stop war. So his solution is that in this special area he set up, he's going to burn 1,000 souls and unleash the horrors, monsters on the world. Now, two things are going to happen. You're going to be disappointed when nothing happens because you think, oh, unleash monsters, and you're going to see a bunch of stuff from the books. Could be cool. It's a streaming show. There's not a budget for that. And you want to see that? Watch the movie. Okay? There's not a budget for that. Are you kidding me? No. They find that Brat is sort of a slave. They brought his dog back, but his dog's basically the vampire dog. Basically. But he ends up killing the dog and not really, And so it appears as if Brat's great-grandfather has shown up. Or great-great-grandfather. The one that and is going to work with Kandu. If they don't believe it, turns out it's Brat, and he's trying to reverse the spell of, hey, giving you what you want. But it doesn't work on him. It turns into a puppet at first. It doesn't work on him. But then Margot is able to reverse the spell that made him immortal, turning him back into the soldier whose name we still don't know. And he has the bullet wound still. Then he tries to shoot Margot, and Isaiah, who I should mention at this point has already confessed his love for her, or I have feelings for you, because I don't know, it's a kid's show. They mentioned sex a couple times and soaping private parts, but you can't say I love you. That's too much for teenagers. Okay, I have feelings for you. He takes the bullet for her, and but Kandu dies, and everyone, including Brat, end up at the hospital. Yes, where it's told that Isaiah is going to die. So Margot uses the spell to make him immortal, and Brat goes to wash his face, goes to wash his face off when he sees Kandu in the mirror and is like, oh no, not again. Credits. And if you're wondering, how could they possibly follow that up in the next season? They don't. No, they decided to make this like Are You Afraid of the Dark, make it an anthology series, and have the next season have absolutely nothing to do with this. Now, I've also heard from people on Instagram saying, "Oh, they continue it in a comic book." Couldn't find any evidence of that anywhere. I tried looking it up, nothing. I couldn't find any evidence that it was continued. It's just left hanging there. I don't. Sure, we know that Isaiah's alive, but like, how? What is it? Is Kandu going to be in control of Isaiah now because of it? Like, will this magic corrupt Isaiah and turn him? We don't know. My question is, if you weren't going to continue this story, why do anything? Because, like, it said it was going for season 2, and almost right away they said it was not going to follow this season. It was going to be completely different. Well, then why did you leave that off then? And Rob Letterman is also involved with season 2. So it's not like, oh, we got a new creative team. No, it's the same creative team. Why did you leave that off? Why have a cliffhanger? And if there is a comic out there, link me to it. I want to find out what happens. Please. Couldn't find any evidence of it, though. Overall, I thought this was decent. I just feel like the last 2 episodes, like it should have ended, they throw it off a cliff, and that's it. Because that would be more conclusive than what we got, this whole convoluted story of wanting to bring in a bunch of monsters to end war. I still don't know how that was going to work. And then a cliffhanger ending that they never intended to come back to. I don't know. I really don't know. But I think it's decent. You know? Did I mention that the actor who played Isaiah, his name is Zach Morris? But he's not trash. His girlfriend was. I still don't understand why he had a girlfriend in the beginning. They get rid of her very quick. She's not even needed. I don't understand why. I don't know. I don't understand why that's there. Start out one love triangle. Then we have another one. Also, Isabella has a thing for Isaiah too. Kind of, sort of. That's barely explored. She mentions it maybe twice. I don't know what is so special about him. But, you know. And why are the only 2 straight guys in the group fighting over the same woman? There's 2 other girls there, right? 2? No, Isabella. That's it. I forgot about Allison, but like, she's not really near. I don't know. But I'll say it's fine. But I'll tell you this much. I think I'm enjoying season 2 or The Vanishing better. I haven't watched the last episode yet, so no spoilers on that. We just got to the end of episode. That's only 8 episodes. Episode 7. Maybe we'll have lunch, and then we weren't able to finish it. So eventually we will. But and I'll come back and do a review for that when it's time. But it was decent. I don't rate TV series. This was decent. I think it's fine. It's fine for what it was. I don't know. It did kind of drag, especially once you get to end of episode 8. You think, okay, is that it? I'm like, is that it? There's 2 more episodes left. What? And even though I had seen this, I was like, oh, this is very, cause it's been a while since I've seen this, a couple of years now, Like, this is very convoluted. Yeah, but yeah. So, what are your thoughts on the Goosebumps from 2023? And make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'm Sky, and I'll see you in the next one.